I'm Edyta Sitar from Laundry Basket Quilts. Welcome to Quilting Window. We are working on our Summer Mystery 2022 quilt and it's time for block number 2. I'm so excited for you. Last week we have learned how to make how to cut strips and made a strippy panel. Wasn't it fun and exciting? Guess what? That lesson from last week comes so handy this week. The first step for our block number 2, you're going to cut strips just like we did it in block 1. Follow our direction on our blog. So when you go to our blog, it gives you all the measurements, how many strips and what do you need to cut. You have to do that every week. And you know, when you go to our blog, you can also print the directions for yourself with the PDF that we prepare for you. So once you cut your strips, get back right to me and let's work on it. So for this week, for block number 2, again, we have the same color option that we did last time with light fabric, another light fabric, then we have 2 medium fabrics. Look at it, are they beautiful? And then I have 2 dark fabrics. If you're working from your scraps, just pay attention to that you have the shading from dark to light, through medium to light. That is the most important part of it, and then you're good to go. I'm using linen texture and I'm using one of the bundles that we had available on our website, but you can use any fabrics. You can use Practical Magic, Lady Tulip, Bluebird. We have so many beautiful fabrics, and if you have purchased one of our bundles for this particular quilt, you can choose from one of those bundles, and there's all the fabrics you needed and they're already prepared and shaded for you. So let's get going on this block. We have a lot of to do because today we're gonna make 8 blocks for block number 2. We make 4 to the left and 4 to the right, total of 8 blocks. So let's get going. I'm going to start piecing my panels together, and I'm just gonna briefly remind you how I did it. I place my fabric strips right sides together, I pin it, and then I sew it into sets of 2. As soon as I finished sets of 2, I went ahead and sew sets of 4. I remember the pressing. We're gonna press all the fabric one direction towards the dark, and if you want to review that part, please go to our first video. We're gonna end up with a panel like this. Just reminder, remember I asked you in the first video, cut your strips in half. So you're working with approximately 1.5 by 20 inches strips, not 40 inches long. It's so much easier to work from that. Once you finish your panel, this time all that we have to do, we're gonna trim the beginning. Oh, and everybody was asking last time, how do I do that? And do you notice I brought my awesome board so I wouldn't forget it? All that I do when I finish strip panel, I look at for the line right here on my ruler. I place that line matching to my middle seam. Then I'm gonna put it on the edge of my fabric just like this. I can see I have a little extra on the top and the bottom, but I'm not worried about that right now. Right now I want to make a nice straight cut so my panel is nice and straight, and like to trim it. This was already trimmed before, so there wasn't much to trim, just a little bit of a thread. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate this, and I have to cut a unit. We're gonna cut a unit 3.5 inches width. 3.5 inches width. Isn't that beautiful? I'm gonna cut it 3.5 right there. And if I would be cutting for the whole quilt, I will cut exactly the amount that it's required. So I would be keep cutting. So remember, we're making 8 blocks. We're gonna need 2 units like this for 1 block. So 8 times 2 is 16 of those. So you getting there. Let's keep cutting. I'm gonna just cut those 2 so I can move on and show you the next step. I just cut it 3.5, but I am not sure if I have been good girl and have a nice accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance. So now it's the time to check that, and I'm gonna grab back my awesome 6.5 inch square ruler, because with this ruler I can again place my ruler, match it up on the top, on the middle right there. I see I have extra on the top, extra on the bottom, and with this ruler I can trim my pieces to perfection. And now with this rotating board, this work is super easy. Why do I center it up? I think it's important because then I can equally trim from the top and the bottom of my unit. If something went off and things are not even, do not stress. It really does not matter. I wanted this quilt to have just the most important part is the shading. If some of the seams are not going to match, it's still going to be beautiful. And I wanted to teach you that during this process, as we sewing, sometimes things don't come out exactly as we want. We would like to think we have control over everything, but sometimes no, we don't. So what I like you to do is think about it, how you can still make beautiful things even if they are not perfect. And in this case, I have two really pretty panels, and I'm gonna be making my first block, and that block is going to have dark on the top and dark in the bottom. So all that I have to do is go ahead, rotate this part. Now I'm gonna place it right sides together, and I would like to match my seams, but if they don't, that's no problem, because maybe you're working with variety of sizes of strips. As long as I have that shading up and down, all that I need you to do is now pin. And I think right now you may be so pleased with yourself because everything is matching. But if it does not, do not worry. I just want you to be 6.5 inch here. I do not want you to stress about it. I want you to have a fun block. I want you to grow as a quilter, but also allow yourself some freedom to have a little bit more scrappy look to your quilt. And you're gonna start by stitching down here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. As soon as I finish stitching, I'm gonna go ahead, open this seam in the back, press it from the front, and again I can go ahead, place my ruler, check, oh, did a good job. If I need to, I can trim it so I can make my 6.5 inch block. And like I said, you're going to need more than just one. You're going to need 4 of those, and I have started on mine, and then we're gonna do a block number 2, the other option, where we're gonna go ahead and have dark on the top and dark on the bottom, but on the opposite side. Do you see the difference between the blocks? Because later on in a quilt we need that mirror image to make our quilt beautiful. And again, I have cut those. All that I'm going to do is place them right sides together, pin, sew, and open my seam in the back. In no time I'm gonna have those blocks done, and like I said, I need 4 of them. You're super excited about it, but I know now from now on every week you're gonna be waiting to see that scrappy option for the block. So let me show you this little scrappy option for this block. Remember, you can take any strips, anything you have. So look at those. I have some 1 inch strips, 1.25, 1.5, 2 inch, and I just line them up in an order that I have it from dark to light. Then I went ahead and sewed them together. Look at this, how cute they are. We have made the block 1 from them. Let's see if we can make a block 2. What was the width of our 6 inch block? 3.5 inches for the unit. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut 3.5 inch beautiful units. And what I'm doing it again, I'm just centering it up. I know that I have a line right here that I match with the edge because before I trimmed it, and I'm looking for lines that are matching with my seams, so that way I know because you don't want to cut it this way accidentally. You want those lines to keep you all organized, so it's 90 degrees here and you get a nice straight strip. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut it, and you can apply that little idea of always trying to make some scrappy version of this quilt. as well if you're working from your own scraps. Now this time again I'm gonna try to center it up nice. I'm not worried about the sizes of my strips. In this scrappy option my seams are not going to match, but I'm okay with that. All that I'm looking forward to, let me see, I need a little bit more. I want a 3/4 of an inch right here. I don't want this light to be too small. I want enough of it to give me nice image. And go ahead, I'm gonna trim it on this side. So here, this option is more for anybody that struggle with 1/4 inch, maybe my beginners, maybe somebody that is a advanced quilter and has a lot of leftover strips from all different projects and it's really looking for something to reuse them. So this little scrappy options gives you an idea that it is okay to have fun and just enjoy and just do some fun quilting. And remember, now we have 2 pieces. All that you're gonna have to do is rotate. Look how cute this look. Oh, I love it how this fabric matched it up through the middle. And all that I would have done is go ahead and pin it. Seams are not locking in this case because we used all different width of strips, and we're gonna go ahead, sew it together and have a little fun scrappy option. I love how this is gonna come together. It's gonna be fun, fun, fun. So if you if you want to more organized, follow the directions, have all your strips exactly as I ask you. But if you're playing with something and you want to reuse some leftovers, you know that's an option for this quilt too. And this is our mystery. Nothing seems like it is. So every time we're starting our block, we're starting with a panel, and then we're gonna go ahead and do some fun things with it to learn how to reuse a lot of our scraps and leftovers. And I hope you enjoy it. So we just finished our block number 2, and I can't wait to see you next week for block number 3 in our Summer Mystery Quilt. Please make sure, give us thumbs up, visit our website and our blog for all your clues, and come next week and quilt with us. Happy quilting, and don't forget to post your pictures on Instagram with hashtag Summer Mystery 2022. Thank you and happy quilting.